Hello everyone and welcome to the latest Slug Disco vlog. We're in a bit of a calm before the storm on Slug Disco's other publishing projects at the moment, so this one is going to be one of the rare ones that concentrates purely on Empires of the Undergrowth. We're just over 3 months out from full release now, and we've had a bit of time to kind of sit and think and decide on some decisions for the future of the project, so I'll be going over some of the plans without too much detail in this one. Give you a bit of an understanding of what's going through our heads at the moment. And of course, just a few days ago, there was an optional beta that started, which will be testing out a lot of the things coming in the near future, so we may as well start this vlog talking about that. So again, thanks for anyone who has already jumped into the optional beta. There are details about how to join that if you'd like to on Steam and on our Discord. I'd say the main focus of this beta is for custom games. I know a lot of people primarily play custom games rather than the story mode, and now we're coming to a time when we've really got the chance to do a bit of experimentation. Quite a long time ago now, we divorced the creature stats in custom games from those of the story, but up until this beta that's currently running, we haven't actually used that facility. But now is the time to really push some changes, and over the past several months since release, and before in fact, I've been gathering feedback and kind of player opinions, particularly from people who play custom games as their primary game mode. And of course there'll be plenty of people coming to custom games having now completed the campaign. So a lot of the changes are quite aggressive from that point of view. They're experimental, and a lot of them push quite far. Now is the time to experiment and kind of find that midpoint. And see what people really like. Something really cool might come up. The best example of kind of a new idea is that the big-headed ant major soldiers have now got this adrenaline ability, which is kind of unique to them and only exists in custom game mode. You won't see that in the campaign, but it's a good example of how we can push things much further in the more chaotic and adaptable and unpredictable environment that is custom games. There is, of course, also a bunch of changes to the existing systems for AI colonies, their decision-making on a species-by-species basis. Liam's done a bunch of work to fine-tune those. That's going to be ongoing work, so your feedback on those will be appreciated as well. Leaf cutters have had a rather significant rebalance in custom games as well. In particular, the media ants have been rebalanced to be the primary resource collectors of the colony. They're a bit cheaper now, they carry more leaves, and the role of the big bruiser is firmly in the hands of the leafcutter major now. Black ants have had a very significant buff. We're trying to give people reasons to use specific colonies in free play that they currently don't. So black ants are way tougher now. They have a maximum damage they can take from any one hit, which at the time of me recording this is 40. So have a look at how those stats have changed, and again, it's all up for tweaking. This beta is likely to be longer, I think, than most of them we've done in the past, and there's going to be several iterations before we land on a sweet spot that we all like. Also, it's worth noting that experimentally, some of the extra levels will use these new custom game stats instead of the story ones, simply because we think they're better suited for it. For instance, the Culling 2 will use the new big-headed ants with the new major abilities, and all 3 of the tug-of-war levels will as well. There's also in testing a bunch of changes to the Tier 5 story missions. It's been quite obvious for a while now that on lower difficulties especially, 5-1 triage is a touch difficult, and 5-2 drive them back is a touch easy, or rather I should say quick. On lower difficulties, that level is quite easily played in 20 minutes. That wasn't our intention, so now that should go on a bit longer and allow easier difficulty players to experience a bit more of that level. Whole bunch of bug fixes and minor changes as well. Noticeably a DLC menu on the main page. Not in use right now, but that's in preparation for things in the future, like the Myrmecia ereptor skins for the workers, which are for our Kickstarter backers. So the other day, I asked the devs to give me a kind of spoiler-free look into their current thought process for what's going to happen in the near future for Empires of the Undergrowth. So I asked John about this, and he gave me a little list of things to talk about, so I'll just go over those now. He says that the game is capable of quite a lot more in its current form than we allow players to do it. There's a myriad of ways in which the player can process food, mix and match armies, and customize the play experience. But we're fairly rigid with this, especially in the story missions, as we try and stay fairly close to the natural world in those. However, you've probably finished story mode now, or will have at some point in the future. So we'd like to open things up a bit, and we're actively exploring ways to allow players to experiment with the game a bit more. We have in the past mentioned briefly CSV setups. This will be a way for players to create even more custom custom games, as it were. Lots that can be done there, but don't let your imagination run too wild with you there. This is all very much in the early stages of implementation, and things will change a lot. So we're deliberately being quite vague right now. This isn't really going to allow for things like, true modding, but it will allow for manipulation of statistics of creatures and spawn rates and all sorts of fun stuff, and we'll see how it turns out. And John also says here, we are looking at other areas of the game as well. We would not alter the story itself, but extra levels and even natural world levels, when taken out of the story, could present some interesting customization options. Then he says pretty much what I just did. At the moment we are in the planning stage of this while we finish tier 5 achievements and custom game maps. Those are also in the works. There's some food for thought, opening things up a lot more to the player officially. Work is carrying on with the Rainforest art refresh. Dan C, our environment artist, has been going full steam ahead on that. We're very happy with the results there. Here's a few more screenshots just for this vlog, which I haven't shown anywhere else yet. The original plan for this was before Christmas, but that might not happen. We'll have to see how things pan out. We do expect the achievements to be coming before the end of the year, though. Fingers crossed, things can change, but it looks like we're very much on course for that. And one of the changes to go along with achievements, of course, is the fact that they will, in fact, be completable in New Game Plus. We've decided that's probably a good thing on the whole, to let people do the achievements on New Game Plus. There'll also be a way of seeing the highest difficulty at which you've completed an achievement as well. That'll be stored in game. Okay, I mentioned earlier on the Myrmecia ereptor. This is a skin for the ereptor workers, which was a Kickstarter reward from way back in 2016 when the Kickstarter was active, and those are almost ready to go. So people who were at that reward tier on the Kickstarter, they'll be coming in the pretty near future. Here's a few stills. They look really nice. There's finally your bull ants that people are always telling us off for not having in. Okay, and there we go. That's the vlog. So as you can see, as we've come out of the contemplative phase of post-release, plans are really starting to come together now for what comes in the future. Lots of exciting stuff as well, which I haven't been authorized to talk about, and therefore I won't. But there's a lot more coming than I've just spoken about now. That's just what I've been told I can talk about. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Newsletter next month as usual. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Lie down, Tisman. Just as I'm about to start, as always. Leaf cutters have had a rather significant rebalance as well. It's been raining like anything today in the town that I live in. And just right now it's lashing against the window, so I'm just going to give it a minute. Bye-bye! Is the salute weird? Who cares?